We see sales use our smart suite more than ever. So, over the last decade, we've accumulated hundreds of millions of data points. And then we really saw about 5 years ago a push for us into, at the time, it was more of a data ML strategy, which now is like an AI strategy. But we really saw that a lot of the best sellers were spending, 10, 20 minutes researching what to send to the prospect based on a lot of personal data, researching what the right address was, researching the best message to send. And that was spending, maybe 30 minutes per send. And we were able to build out this AI suite of a smart send, which suggests based on a lot of data, smart delivery, which picks the right address, smart message, which writes the message. And so we shorten that down to like seconds that used to take 20 minutes.
Hey everyone, this is Kevin Kerner, the host of Tech Marketing Rewired. This next episode is really great. I got a chance to talk to Kris Rudeegraap, who is the CEO of Sendoso. So I don't get a lot of time to talk to CEOs on the podcast. So this was really special for me, not only because he's a CEO, but also because Sendoso is a mighty true partner. We really love the work that they do there. So it was kind of fun to talk to him. One of the reasons I reached out to him was because I was very interested in how direct mail is evolving in the age of all the automations that are out there and all the tools and channels. And of course, the cost of channels is going up and the effectiveness is going down. Seems to me like direct mail is the one thing that hasn't really declined over the years. So I was very fortunate to get a chance to talk to him. And we had a great conversation about his origin story, best use cases for Sendoso in sales and marketing and customer service. And also I asked him what's the weirdest gift that he's ever seen sent out. So it's been really a lot of fun. Before I get started, I wanted to mention that this podcast is sponsored by my company, Mighty and True. Mighty and True helps CMOs identify the gaps that they may be facing in getting their strategic plans to market. And we go ahead and bring those plans to market. And then we also build architect infrastructure that helps them get to those strategic goals faster and more efficiently using AI and automation. The other thing I wanted to mention is that with our partners at Sendoso, we are having a Tech Marketing Rewired dinner in Dallas on March 5th. So if you're interested in an invite to the dinner and want to meet me in person and some of the Sendoso folks, along with a number of other CMOs that are in the Dallas area, please reach out, connect with me on LinkedIn or look us up at www.mightyandtrue.com. Okay, that's about it. I'm super excited for this conversation. Let's get to it. This is Tech Marketing Rewired. Kris, how you doing? Welcome to the podcast.
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me on, Kevin.
Yeah, I was really excited because we are a Sendoso partner, so we love your stuff. But you guys are doing such cool stuff in the space right now. I had to just get you on to talk all things through. So I want to just dive right into it. One of the things I wanted to figure out is how you actually started this thing. I think that'd be interesting to a lot of people. Like, why would someone do this at scale? I mean, it's a great product, but how did you come up with the idea? How did you take it from, a garage to the scale that you guys have now? I just think it'd be interesting to hear for starters.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting scale up given the physical warehousing, logistics, supply chain components. So, I think like how a lot of good startups start, it came out of a problem that I faced firsthand that I was passionate about solving at the time. And so about a decade ago, I was in sales myself at a smaller startup in San Francisco. And I had seen that my email response rates were kind of diminishing. People weren't replying. If I look back like 12, 13 years ago, I'd send out like 100 emails and get like 90 replies. It was wild. And I think that was before all the mail merge tools became so easy to use. But with diminishing email response rates, which was really my lifeblood, I said, what else can I do to grab the attention of prospects, to build better rapport, close meetings, thank prospects? And so I found myself going to our marketing swag closet and grabbing swag and packing up boxes and shipping it out, or writing handwritten notes, or going down to Starbucks, buying gift cards and sending it out, or even personal stuff like being on a call and seeing or hearing a dog bark and sending over a dog toy, or seeing someone's college alma mater that they're talking about and sending over a gift related to that. And so
smart.
I was running just like a mini mailroom. And honestly, it kind of sucked. It was like annoying to pack boxes, run to FedEx, click tracking links. Luckily, I was the best seller. So my VP of sales would always approve these Amazon expense reports. But all of it made me believe that there had to be a better solution than me manually doing this. And asked a bunch of buddies, and they all were like, hey, this is cool. Some people were doing this. Some people wish they could do more of it. And so I kind of made the crazy jump to say, okay, I'm going to solve this problem. And then that's
Yeah.
where all of the effort and crazy, you know, early years started.
It's like, how hard can it be? I've
Yeah.
been doing it myself. Like, how hard could this possibly be?
Yeah.
But I know it's like operationally having my days at when I was at another marketing services company, Hart Hanks, we did a lot of fulfillment and it is very detailed and when you throw the global stuff on top of it, it's
Hmm.
just really, really amazing. But I do think it's held through all the channels that you look at. Like if you look at all the channels that are out
Yeah.
there and there's many now, it seems to have held the best. It's
Yeah.
like the thing that really it's in fact, it's probably even more relevant now because of all the others channel. I mean, God forbid someone opens an email now. So
Yeah.
it, it seems like now is is as right time as any.
Well, I think you nailed it in that, ironically, 10 years ago, I thought email was on its last leg. And fast forward, and I think AI and, these AI SDRs too have just totally made email a spammy channel, that one that people, you know, try to not read. And I think, a decade ago, even 5 years ago, people were like excited to check their inbox. And now I think it's like something you fear. So I think,
Yeah.
crazy inboxes, mix that with rising ad prices on the digital side, mix
Mm,
that with like a gazillion more companies competing for attention. It's easier than ever to use some of these like new AI tools like Replit, Lovable, etc., to like code and create your own company, and then you got to start marketing it. So you got to start, outbounding and go to market. And then,
yeah.
I think also, I had the luxury a decade ago where everyone was in office for the most part, and so I was packing boxes
Mm,
from a swag closet. Now with work from home, you don't have that like swag closet, next door, or maybe you do in your garage, but that maybe sucks. And then to your point on, this channel outlasting or being almost less saturated now than ever before, I think that because of the cost components and because of the complexity, operational complexities, if you do this manually, it's kind of prevented oversaturation, which is nice
yeah.
because there's
Yeah.
still a lot of opportunity to use direct mail and get the attention of your prospects and customers.
Yeah. It was since the spark of the idea was say born from sales hitting quota. Did you at that time ever I mean, now you're in marketing, you're in customer service, you're in all the things.
Yeah.
But does it surprise you that this took on such a life beyond just like a salesperson tool?
It did, and actually for the first, call it like half a year, I actually had some OMG moments that this wasn't gonna work because I was reaching out to VPs of
Hmm.
sales thinking like, "Hey, this is a sales tool."
Yeah.
And it was until a couple of sales leaders were nice enough to say, "Hey, like the tool, but marketing needs to buy this. They're gonna run this and then get back to me once it's live, and I'll push this to my team." That really changed our kind of our ICP of who we were going after. And then once we started targeting marketing and then aligning with sales on the end user, that became a really huge boost of momentum for us because marketing could budget for it. They wanted the campaign controls, the tracking, they wanted brand, approvals, etc. But then opening it up to the AEs, the SDRs, the AMs made a lot of sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Product market fit, like it comes out of the strangest places
I
sometimes,
know.
and you're an entrepreneur. It's like, hey, I didn't see that coming, but yeah, it's good timing. Um, okay, I want to get into kind of the playbook for this stuff, and maybe we do it kind of cross-functional.
Sure.
I mean, I'm sure it's all interwoven, the sales, marketing, customer support, but since it maybe started with sales, I wonder
Yeah.
if you could talk about we're in 2026 now. There's likely to be some new things that people are doing with physical gifting. A lot of this may bleed over into our marketing discussion, but from a sales perspective, how is it being used today in the best possible ways? And what do you see people doing that they shouldn't be doing in the sales function using
Yeah.
your technology?
A lot of different ways sales are using it. I think from the most obvious is, I think in today's day, more sales teams are doing full cycle prospecting and closing. So we're seeing that
Yeah.
for those teams that are doing that, sales uses this as a great tool to try to break into new accounts and, book more meetings. We see sales use our smart suite more than ever. So, over the last decade, we've accumulated hundreds of millions of data points. And then we really saw about
Mhm.
5 years ago a push for us into, at the time, it was more of a data ML strategy, which now is like an AI strategy. but we really saw that a lot of the best sellers were spending, 10, 20 minutes researching what to send to the prospect based on a lot of personal data, researching
Yeah.
what the right address was, researching the best message to send. And that was spending, maybe 30 minutes per send. And we were able to build out this AI suite of a smart send, which suggests based on a lot of data, smart delivery, which picks the right address, smart message, which writes the message. And so we take it, we shorten that down to like seconds that used to take 20 minutes. So that's one big
Yeah.
thing for sales. We also see sales teams use it kind of throughout like a longer sales cycle, like maybe sending a gift that is an invite to an exec dinner or some kind of dinner. So using it for like grabbing attention for invites. Also for like thought leadership content or like a new case study, rather than just being like, hey, here's a PDF, it's, hey, here's PDF and here's a coffee e-gift to enjoy some coffee on me while you read it.
Yeah.
We see that being popular. And then no more of the hey, happy Friday, checking in where that contract. Instead, it's kind of a give get where it's like, hey, happy Friday, grab lunch on me and let me know where the if you need any help on that contract. And that just
That's a
like
good idea.
changes the dynamic of the conversation from like, oh, this sales rep's nagging me to, oh wow, that was thoughtful. Like, let me go put some effort in to see where this is with our legal team. And then we see a fair amount of sales teams using it for show rates. It's again kind of a reciprocity guilt shipping. Hey, looking forward to chatting in an hour or later today. Here's something for you. And that
Oh, that's a
improves
great
show
idea.
rates quite a bit too. So those are kind of the use cases we're seeing a lot. And then we are seeing more, reps getting, integrating in this into their flows. So
Yeah.
while, 5 years ago, outreach and sales loft were our heaviest integrations on the sales side. Now it's the Gong Engage tool. It's
Yeah.
through Clay. It's through other tools that are now more in the modern sales tech stack.
So you had to open up at some point you had to open up the API to give all these tools access, like a Clay and other tools. It's just, man, the power of that. Like I use N8 and a bunch
Yep.
for all our automations, and I haven't tried it with the Sendoso API yet. I want to do
Yeah.
that for some of the mighty tree stuff we're doing, but it's just a game changer
It,
because I could trigger off anything. Yeah, I
it's
can
for
trigger off
sure.
anything.
Yeah, we take
Yeah.
care. The nice thing is you can trigger it from the existing workflows. You can put in a lot of if thens into your workflows.
Yeah.
We were super early on a Zapier integration when that was like the automation of choice,
Yeah.
and then have moved into making it easier in NAN and Clay and API. But I think that's the name of the game, especially with certain companies maturing into like a go-to-market engineering role that wants to automate on behalf of a lot of different sellers. So yeah, I think it's an interesting time. And we've taken all the heavy lifting of the operational complexities to make it a no-brainer to want to trigger off gifts and
Well,
mailers.
I just think it's so smart because one of the questions I had for you was sales adoption. I
Yeah.
mean, what does it have to take for, I guess I've always said it's like kind of an IQ test. The smartest salespeople will see this and go, oh yeah, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And they're probably hitting quota. The
Yep.
ones that aren't so smart or just aren't that interested, aren't really going to use it. So how do you get salespeople to actually use the tools that they have available to them? I'm sure that's the frustration of a lot of marketers that own the thing, but they want to get sales to use it and it just doesn't get thought of.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's definitely that dynamic where I'm like, why the heck if this sales rep is not using it, even though they're getting $500 for marketing a month to spend,
Yeah.
it's insane not to. I think there's just some sellers that are stuck in their old ways. But we do
Yeah.
see marketers running contests, giving extra spend to reps that are spending more, sharing internal wins. Like a lot of customers have Slack channels where they're like, "Hey, I just booked a meeting off this gift," or "Hey, I just closed this deal and I sent him these two gifts." So I think some of those things are definitely making it easier. And then we do have some features again, like send on behalf of. So
Hmm.
again, where
Oh
you
yeah.
just have marketers that know it works, uh, and sellers that are resistant to change. We do see some companies sending on behalf of the sellers through our platform, and then the
Hmm.
sellers are just getting the notifications that it was delivered to follow up.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great idea. Have you thought of, because I'm doing a lot of triggering now out
Yep.
of Slack
Yep.
and through MCP through chat.
Yep.
seems like giving the end salesperson the easiest possible, like low friction way to do something. That can happen inside of Salesforce, but they don't like to go inside of Salesforce. Have you given any thought to other integrations that might make it super easy, like a Slack trigger or a
Yeah,
Salesforce
we
or
do have some Slack functionality, especially around notifications and follow-ups.
yeah, yeah.
We are rolling out an MCP server soon. That'll
Oh,
also be
yes.
critical for some of our integrations into tools like Qualified and other kind
Yeah,
of agent first tools where they want to integrate into us, and an MCP is the easiest way. So yeah, definitely
sure.
thinking through ways like that. There is a few more complexities with us because of the dynamic of wanting to pick the gift and
Yeah,
visually wanting to see things and a mailing address, et cetera, et cetera. But our goal is how do we make this, as easy as possible as like sending an email. I mean, we even have an
yeah.
email integration where you can click a button inside of Gmail and it pops up the ability to send something. So,
Yeah, that's
um,
it. Reduce the friction, right? Just
yeah.
get
And
it
we have
in.
these links too. You can generate these what we call party links and give these to the sellers as well. And then you can either gate them based on like CRM data, so or you can have a approval queue thereafter. So there's a bunch of rules and settings. But then it's as easy as just saying, "Hey, rep, whenever you want to send this gift, here's a link. Just like you know, chat it, email it, whatever you want to do."
Who when there's a sales relationship, who typically owns the relationship with you guys in sale? Is that usually still done in marketing, or is it a salesperson? Like if I'm a
Um,
CMO, who do I give this to or a CRO? Like
yeah.
who would run this for me?
There's sales enablement, sales ops.
Oh yeah,
Sometimes sales
yeah,
ops
okay,
does the enablement, so that's typical. In some cases, it is still like field marketing that sits with sales. Some sales
yeah.
teams have like chief of staffs that assist in like tech rollouts, like us. And in some cases, it's just like more of a mid-level sales manager or leader that sees this and wants to own it.
Yeah, okay.
That's helpful.
Makes sense. Okay, well, let's move on to the marketing side of
Yeah.
things. I think when you think, and I think of marketing, I think of messaging and brand and making sure that we're high touch. I had Katie on a while for one of
Hmm.
the first podcasts, the whole human centric marketing thing she talked about, but which I think is really smart. So high touch, but then you have this sort of creepy, cheesy factor. Like, where have you seen it work really well, where
Yeah.
it's fits a brand, and where do you want to stay out of the ditches with this type of stuff?
Yeah, there's definitely brand controls that we have in the platform that we suggest our customers think about, which is like whether that's spend controls, logo, other permissioning controls. So we think there's definitely a layer of controls and reporting that's necessary, especially in certain regulated industries. But on the cheesy point, depending on who you sell into, a quirky, cheesy gift mailer actually breaks patterns and disrupts the normal, like, oh, I got another email. And I think that, depending on who you sell into, you got to, like, again, be a little unique and say, hey, actually, let's be a little controversial. Let's be a little weird, with this mailer we're doing. And at the end of the day, hopefully it makes the recipient smile and be like, hey, this got my attention. So
I'm really glad you said that
yeah.
because the customer not to be named was doing some really kind of really interesting things, let's say using direct mail, and they were working great. It was just like knocked it out of the park. And then they rebranded some new brand leadership, and they don't do quite as much.
Yeah.
Hal has to be kind of in the pocket, and it just hasn't worked as well. And also the marketing team isn't quite as excited about some of the stuff. So it's um it's just like anything, it's pattern interrupt. You got to
Exactly.
interrupt the pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, is there any way that the marketing teams are using AI now, either outside the platform or in the platform that helps? You mentioned a lot of the stuff through sales, but are
Yeah.
there any marketing use cases with AI?
Yeah, I mean, besides those same smart signals or smart, smart send, smart messaging, smart, all those things marketing will take advantage of to automate too. So I think that's critical. But they're also able to act in more real time too. We see marketers using, other signal based tools, whether it's like the
Hmm.
clays, common rooms, or signals from like 6sense demand base, etc. And triggering off of those.
Hmm.
And so I think that's really interesting. as well as just setting up automations. I think we have a lot of people think about Sendoso as like a click and send tool, but we do have a full blown automation system set up in our platform that takes into account data from other systems and triggers. And I
Hmm.
think that's also more heavily used by marketing.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, the clay side, the clay's really blowing up in terms of their
I
people who
know.
know that it's around, and how they've integrated all the signals into that one platform is like nothing I've ever seen. There have
I
been other
explain it.
signals,
Yeah.
in Apollo, or Zoom has some, and then of course Sixth Sense has their more inbound sort of media centric signals. But man, they've really so that seems like a big integration component in addition to the outbound side of map and CRM. Your dog is going to be the first dog that's ever been on this podcast.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, can you hear that? I can.
No,
My
no, it doesn't bother me at all. I have a bunch of
Someone just
kids,
showed
so
up to my house and dog's going
I'm
crazy.
hoping one of my kids doesn't walk by and right with no clothes on or something. So it
Yeah,
could get a lot worse. Uh, okay, so other use cases for physical gifting beyond sales and marketing. Give me some ideas on how you can use this beyond
yeah. I
the
mean,
typical.
we're seeing over the last couple of years, especially an uptick on the CX side, customer success, account management side.
Mm,
And I
yeah.
think it goes back to, a lot of companies are realizing that the age old, hey, it costs like whatever 5 times more to get a new customer than to keep an old one. And so how do you invest in your customers, and your customer retention and customer success? And gifting is one great way to do that. Also, I think there's a big push for land and expand, especially in these larger enterprises that have done a lot of M&A in over the years. I think you think about like the Cisco's and Palo Alto Networks, and those companies have like 20 plus product lines, maybe more. Salesforce, as well, where they've got to cross sell, cross sell, cross sell, and because of that, they're having to break into new teams or break in, offer new reasons to meet. And so we see a lot of cross sell expansion being a use case for using our platform for account management teams. um, and then I think that people are like kind of like reinventing the buyer's journey, and doing so as a way to differentiate themselves. And because of that, even bringing in life moments, we see some companies like send out like what baby onesies with their logo on it, or a catchy
Mm,
phrase, or other things. Being ready to send flowers if it's someone's birthday, or cake or champagne if there's a promotion. So those types of things I think bode well. They're a little bit harder to track, but I think that a lot of smart, chief customer officers are realizing that, customers can't just be transactional and can't just be a logo, but it's a person, and people buy from
yeah.
people, people renew from people. So
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. With all these features and changes
yeah,
and you've got all of these things that connect. You're creating, let's say you do MCP and you're doing all the other things. There's so many new gifts and stuff.
yeah,
What comes to mind is like, how do you communicate all this possibility and capability to your customers? Like, how do you talk to me a little bit about how you get this out to people
yeah.
such that I mean, it's because it's really easy to
Hard.
understand. I send
Yeah.
you a gift, you react. But how do you cover the marketplace in a noisy marketplace with all the things that you guys are doing?
It's a great question. I mean, it's a challenge that our product marketing team and our customer education team think about all the time. Some of the ways we've tackled it is through like our Sendoso University that has a lot of really interesting training courses. We do
Mm,
these certifications based on the end user type, whether you're a field marketer or a sales rep or a demand gen marketer. We have different certifications, and also part of that, there's different product functionality. We also try to connect our community too. So we have the ability to like connect customers with other customers, and a lot of times they're sharing best practices or features that they might be using that others aren't. So those are really helpful. We also try to empower our kind of partner community, whether that's agencies or integration partners, with content, and then whether that's more thought leadership that we do as well. But it's definitely a challenge. We are coming out with a new like newspaper mailer that we're
mm.
going to be sending out quarterly.
Oh,
As
that's
kind of
smart.
using our own product to send it out, but as in addition to like our monthly newsletter that's digital and email based, we're going to come out with a printed format that should be fun as well.
Ah, it's so smart. That's cool. That's a really cool idea. Is there anything that you've done, like since things have changed so much, is there anything that you used to do that you're not you don't do as much anymore because it just doesn't seem to be working from your go-to-market motion?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think we reinvented our cold outbound strategy, so that was like night and day from even as short as 3 years ago.
Hmm.
Some of our PPC has also changed a bit. That strategy has changed from a more, broad top of funnel to more of an ABM tactic in terms of
Yeah.
because it wasn't working and was getting expensive.
Yeah.
Um, and then we were investing a lot in our tech integration partners.
Hmm.
And I think that it just got noisy, and a lot of the tech integration partners have a million partners. And so we've pulled back a little bit on the tech partners and tried to refocus more on agency partners. And we've seen better success with that.
Yeah.
And then I think there's other channels that have evolved. Like, I'd say like our old content SEO strategy has evolved and trying to figure out how do we appease like the LLM SEO's new playbook.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that's changed quite a bit. Um, and then there's just new things we're doubling down on. I think that's working better than it has in the past, like
What? Yeah.
events, for example, has worked better. um, Even our kind of ABM strategy, and I think even trying to test new ad channels, like we know we need to send in ads. We can't do the same PPC ads as we did before, but we're even testing like sponsored newsletters, B2B
Hmm.
influencers, sponsored podcasts, things like that, where maybe the channels where people are willing to tune in or grab attention has changed from maybe like an AdWord.
Yeah. What do you would you say from for your company the top performers are? Like, what do you really wouldn't ever stop? Like, what's double down sort of stuff?
uh, I mean, drinking our own champagne with direct mail is an obvious
Yeah.
one. I
Yeah.
think that speaks for itself. Events, I think events is
Yeah, that's
something
what I was
that
saying, yeah.
works
You
really
guys
really
do those
well.
well. Yeah.
And then I don't know, third one on that list, maybe ABM, as a
Hmm.
general tactic of just really targeting the right companies that we know should be using us, and swarming them.
Yeah. So you're the CEO of the company,
Yeah.
and I talk to a lot of CMOs that have to defend, the stuff they're doing up to the CEO. You're a very savvy CEO because you have a sales background and you know marketing. When a CMO comes to you or one of the marketing team comes to you, what are the things you like to see as the CEO in terms of marketing performance? Just like what do you not want to see and what do you want to see? Because I don't get a lot of chances to have
Yeah, yeah,
CEOs on the
yeah.
podcast. This is
Um,
interesting.
I love seeing how marketing turns into revenue. So, albeit they do, you know, p- uh, report on leads, MQLs. I've really trained our marketing team to think in holistic revenue and in
Yeah.
contribution to, ARR, and then also contribution to NRR. So I think for a while marketing was overly focused on top of funnel, and so really trying to get them focused on, reporting on influence of expansion and renewal deals.
Mm.
So that was critical. Um, I like for them to showcase new channels they're testing and how they're performing and which ones they're doubling down on or killing.
Mm.
So I like some per channel. Um, there's definitely the like, what are we doing for Sendoso and show me more,
Yeah.
that I love there, that they're showing to me. Um, I also like to see what we're doing in terms of what I'd call just like brand that's not is trackable. So whether
Mm.
it's community related initiatives, whether it's certain events that we are not perfectly attributing back, but I like them to purposefully not be too obsessed with numbers where they forget that like, hey, certain channels are driving demand and awareness that then turn into inbound, but you can't just focus on dollar for dollar kind of outbound or channels that have a definitive direct impact.
Oh, yeah, that's great to hear. That's really good to hear. I think it's smart. Do you care? How much do you care about attribution? Like you kind of got to that, but is it something
Yeah.
you want to see? Is
Um,
it?
in B2B attribution is tough.
Yeah.
So there's some newer tools that we're using that use AI to bring in more true attribution. Because I think there's just been, a lot of hearsay of like last touch, just like you just can't use that, or first touch. So then you get into weighted. attribution models, and then
Yeah.
we're testing some new tools too that are bringing us some interesting insights of like this actually triggered the deal close,
Hmm.
but it also had these other touch points. So I like thinking about attribution, but I don't like only using attribution as the reporting mechanism. So there has to
Yeah.
be marketing still has to be a bit creative and a bit gut driven in terms of testing and proving what works.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear you say that because I've been on calls with some CMOs with the CEO where they're trying to defend things, and it gets down to the like literally this channel and or maybe this set of ads this month is not driving X in pipeline, and so we're going to cut it off. But it's B2B is so complicated. You
It
just
is
can't. There's just so many ways. I find brands. I'm all over the place, and so
totally.
and then now you have AI doing a heavy lift there too. So what is my final question? Then I got to get into AI roulette here. Is that what's the craziest gift you've ever seen sent out in all of these years? I can't even. You may have sent it as a salesperson, but
Yeah.
what's the craziest thing that
There-
someone's done?
Gosh, there's been infinitely cool sends. I think probably some of the most expensive ones was, someone was sending out like Rolexes to our platform.
Oh,
There was
nice.
people sending these Traeger barbecues, which is like a really cool send. But I think the cool ones are the ones that are actually super personalized that hit home. Like one
Mm.
funny one that our team sent out years ago was meeting a VP at a conference that was on crutches and mentioned that they had broken their ribs in a skiing accident. And so we sent them a rack of Kansas City barbecue ribs in the mail when they got home,
That's
as just
awesome.
kind of a funny way to do it. So I think some of those funny, personalized, make you laugh and chuckle mailers can outbeat the Rolexes in terms of impact.
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, I love that. I love that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do one final question that I click on Gemini for, and I basically loaded your name in and a little bit about your background through your LinkedIn profile, and then the stuff we were talking about today. So I'm going to hit send, and it'll give us a question that the AI wants to ask you here. So let me
Wow.
do that
Okay.
real quick. And okay, here we go. Okay, as a digital entity who is essentially the mass blast spam you've fought for years. Oh, that's harsh. I'm worried. I'm actually they're talking about themselves as a digital entity who is essentially the mass blast spam you fought for years. I'm worried. I'm actually the problem you're trying to solve. What was the most robotic sales habit you had to painfully unlearn to ensure you didn't end up as predictable as soulless as my own algorithms?
Interesting. Um, well, I do think emails was our enemy for a while,
Yeah.
and blasting was the enemy. I think that probably the biggest thing to unlearn was kind of our transition to Clay and automating more of the outbound, which felt like, oh wow, we're going to double down on spam, but instead it's
Yeah.
actually the opposite. In which we've done is we've been able to use AI to double down on better targeting, which is the right prospect email at this right time based on a bunch more data. Instead of an insert variable spam email, it was, hey, rewrite a perfect sentence for each contact based on these like 6 prompts, and hyper personalize every single email. And so I think that what originally 3 years ago was like, okay, we're going to use AI, and there was a lot of hesitation from the outbound team that was, okay, now we're just going to spam more people. But it's like, no, now we're going to better email the right person. And so I think we had to move away from that mindset, and that opened up a lot of new doors.
Yeah, that is exactly the right way to think about it because it could become it is unmanageable now. Like I'm sure in my email during this conversation, I've had like probably 10 emails from
Oh, I'm
that are
sure.
obviously AI generated. But if you do it right and you target right,
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's a totally different way to think about it. So thanks for putting up with the AI roulette question.
I like it.
Um,
That's cool.
Kris, I'm a big fan. I want to mention that Mighty and True and Sendoso are doing a CMO dinner again. We did one in Austin, and we're doing one in Dallas on March 5th. So I wanted to put a shout out. You guys have been kind enough to to be sponsors twice in a row, and it's just great. We have such a great relationship, so I really appreciate you. And if you can make it to if you're in Dallas, you're invited for sure.
I appreciate it, Kevin. Yeah, happy to support the audience and love collaborating.
Yeah, for sure. So, everyone, I encourage you to follow Kris. Go to sendoso.com and check out what they do, as well as all their partners and all the integrations. It's just hard to keep up with. It's crazy. Kris, any other things that are going on at Sendoso you want to mention before we wrap up?
No, I mean, we're constantly doing events, so join us at an event, and then love connecting with people. So feel free to add me on LinkedIn, shoot me a note, Kris@sendoso.com, Kris, and love chatting with people that are passionate about go-to-market.
Cool. Good to see you, Kris. Hope to talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Kevin.
See ya.